All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us today. I am Brandy Grayson, CEO and founder of Urban Triage, Inc. We have a few guests on the live video today, folks who have participated in our Supporting Healthy Black Families work group, as well as our co-conspirator work group. I wanted to do a live today because we don't get a lot of opportunities to really have like a conversation on our platform with people who have went through our work groups, who have experienced transformation, who have a deeper understanding of our methodology and our curriculum. And of course, there's always room for us to do better, right? There's always room to do better. But what I want to do is just provide folks who are supporters of Urban Triage, the people who come and volunteer their heart, their time, and often their hard-earned money to support the work of Urban Triage. I wanted you to have a peek into what it is that you're supporting and why your support is so important. And as many are aware, we have our community space campaign just ended. It ended on Tuesday, which is just a couple days ago. And my lips are dry. I should get some Vaseline. But anyway, I'll get some chapstick. Anyway, I've been talking on Zoom all day. I didn't even looked at myself until right now. I look a little rough, but it'll be okay. Darn it, what was I saying? So part of the last about 7.5 weeks, we've been running our campaign for our community space. And our goal was to raise $100,000 by the end of the year. I mean, that really was our goal. It was like, okay, we can raise enough money to sustain our space for at least a year and to build it out, get the furniture and all the equipment we need. And we actually raised $115,000 in 7.5 weeks, right? Versus the 4-month goal that we have. So I just want to take the opportunity to say thank you, Madison community, our volunteers, our supporters, the folks who always come through for us. Our organization is truly funded by the community. It really is. And I want to give the community an opportunity to see what happens, like what happens with our transformative education and really what sets us, Urban Triage, Inc., apart from other nonprofits. Because you guys know, in Dane County alone, we have like 6,000 nonprofits, right? And a lot of our nonprofits do amazing work. So this isn't a comparison. This is just what niche has Urban Triage filled that needed to be filled, right? Like, and that's the conversation I want to have with you guys today, because what we're going to do, what we're doing in the next 2 weeks is launching our Giving Tuesday campaign, right? And I want you to help you guys understand where your money goes, like community, funded by the community, for the community. Where does your dollar go and what impact does it have? So that's why I brought our folks who have been directly impacted by our work to do a live. So look, they don't have no script. I didn't even give them any questions because I was just like, I want this to be authentic and genuine and really from your heart. And we'll just go with the flow to start off the conversation. Let's just start there. I don't even know what to ask. How about a quick let's go quickly through the folks that's on the line and introduce yourselves to Facebook, maybe like your first, your last name, if you're comfortable, and what work group you were able to experience through Urban Triage. Let's start with Hawanda. You're muted, Hawanda. You're gonna have to unmute yourself, girl.
My name is Hawanda Yara, and I did the 3rd cohort with Serving Healthy, with Urban Triage and Serving Healthy Black Families.
Thank you. How about you, Andrea?
Hi, I'm Andrea Richardson. I did the co-conspirator work group, which is the 1st cohort.
Right. So Andrea was part of our pilot program because this was the first time that we launched and ran that cohort. So she, she has the inside. She got the, what we did good and what we could do better. Okay. And I welcome Andrea to share all of that, right? Because each cohort and all the work that we do, we get better. And it really is about taking the experience of participants and getting better and improving our work, our methodology. So thank you for that, Andrea. And who else do we have online with us? Shaquila, why are you just sitting there looking all professional, Grissom? Shaquila.
Yeah, that's me. Hi y'all, it's Shaquila, and I was in the most recent cohort, the 4th cohort, the best.
The best cohort. Okay.
We had patience. I'm gonna claim it.
Right. We did have patience. Who else do we have? Alex?
Hey y'all, this is Alex Booker. I'm the communication specialist here at Urban Triage, and I was in the 3rd cohort of supporting healthy Black families.
Thank you, Alex. And Alex is now our communication specialist for Urban Triage. So he does all our social media stuff, our blogging, and all the things that doesn't really go along with communication specialists. But hey, you know what I'm saying? Part of the life of a nonprofit, right? You say you got this role, really, you got about 20 roles. Whatever skill you have, we will use it. Okay. Amen. So thank you guys all today for being here, just taking time out your day and being patient with us as my last call took way longer than we had expected. And then we had technological issues because that's just what happens. Sometimes we have breakdowns, right? And it's okay because that means we're on our way to a breakthrough, because that's one of the things that we learn in supporting healthy Black families and in our co-conspirators. So I'm just going to start with a general question. What was your biggest takeaway from your experience with Urban Triage? And we'll start with Shaquila.
My biggest takeaway is, if you think it, I knew Brandy was gonna call on me first. I was mentally trying to prepare because that was the entire cohort.
It really was.
Stressing me out. I think the biggest takeaway for me was integrity, right? Like really being accountable, being aware of the whole concept of integrity really has stuck with me and continues to stick with me and continues to shake me to my core, to keep me accountable to what I say I want to do, right? So if I want to be these things, I want to be this person, I want to have these things, I really need to be in integrity with myself and be in integrity with those around me to make those things happen. And that has really transformed a lot of things in my life.
Okay, that's awesome, because I'm gonna come back and pick on you some more. Okay. Andrea, what was your biggest takeaway from your work with Urban?
Boy, it's hard to just say one, but I'd say the biggest one is starting to see how much I am a product of white supremacy racism, and that I have to just be conscious and working at it all the time to dig that out and see things differently. I think, the other part of that biggest takeaway is that there are other ways of seeing myself and other people in the world.
Yeah. Now, and I'm just gonna before I lose it, because I might lose it if I keep going. But when you say white supremacy racism, what do you mean by that? What was when you say what you just said? Can you go, give people examples maybe of what that looked like in your life, or what the takeaway looks like in your life?
Well, first of all, just using that phrase, I mean, I've always just said racism, and I learned from you, Brandy, to call it white supremacy racism, because that's the only manifestation of racism that there is the racism that was created to maintain white supremacy.
Yeah.
So now I call it white supremacy racism. And one of the big things that you showed us was that a handout on characteristics or attributes of white supremacy racism, things like perfectionism and constantly trying to get bigger and better. There's all these attributes on there that I thought were just part of me and things that I learned from my family. And it turns out they're actually attributes that I was taught and rewarded for having through white supremacy racism. So for me, just becoming aware of that and starting to really change just how I act, like letting go of perfectionism, embracing being uncomfortable. Those are just a couple of the small ways that things have changed for me in my life day to day.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Hawanda, how about you, love? What was one of your biggest takeaways? And maybe I shouldn't be limited to y'all biggest takeaways. Talk about whatever you want, but what was some of your takeaways? You're muted.
Because if I could think about that, one of my biggest takeaways would be saying chair and chair falls, because to me, that speaks volumes to who you are and what you believe in your words, you know, and your power and what you speak. So to me, that was one of the most profound things that I took away when you say chair falls, because it's what you say and what you will manifest out of the words that you speak out of your mouth, and having it happen because you believed it.
Yeah, yeah. And what, if I can just ask, was go ahead. No, okay, I thought Alice was raising Alex's hand, but Alice was drinking water. So I was like, is that your hand? um, how does that relate? Like, I what I hear sometimes people say is the training was not what I expected it to be. And we frame it around white supremacy, and there's a different kind of transformation that takes place within folks that I've been able to witness as a facilitator and creator of the curriculum. Anybody want to just jump in there and share what you thought your experience with Urban Triage was going to be versus what it ended up being?
I can. I was gonna say, I
Oh, I
remember
just want to say all of y'all names are showing up as Brandy Grayson too. Y'all might want to like.
I don't know how to fix it on this iPad, so.
Okay. I think you just click by your name at the little dots at the top and hit rename and then type your name into it. I looked up, I was like, everybody, Brandy Grayson? Everybody. Okay.
But I was gonna say that I distinctly remember the first meeting. I remember like journaling after it because it really hit me. It hit me hard. Like I texted Alex and I was pissed because I was like, what in the hell, Alex? You went through this cohort before me. You know me. You should have told me so I could mentally prepare, because I was expecting, I don't know what the hell I was expecting. I was expecting like a training. I was expecting white supremacy, and I don't know why I was expecting that shit from Brandy, but I should have known that it was going to be a lot deeper than just some random ass foo-foo ass training, right? And so I got in and I'm like, why am I breaking down and crying? Like, why am I on the brink of tears? Like, what is happening? And I was going to say, like, it's not what I expected, but it was definitely what I needed. And I truly needed, because being in your class taught me so much. And like, obviously we're going to get into it, but like, I was expecting like a simple training, and I got a life-altering, life-shattering breakthrough situation that has really transformed the way that I am, the way that I be, and like what I can do, right?
You guys, I'm laughing at her B, because I'm always in the class like, so who are you being? Y'all gonna go to sleep with that in your head. Who are you being in the world, right? How about you, Alex? I skipped you when I asked like, what was your aha? Only because I always ask you that, Alex. So how about you though, versus like what you thought the training was gonna be, and what you end up getting out of it?
So what I thought the training was going to be, honestly, I didn't really know. Like I knew it said supporting healthy Black families, but I also was like, I just knew Brandy Grayson from all the work that she's done, and knew that like, oh, if this is her organization, then I want to be a part. So so I was just like, okay, well, let me get into this however I could fit in. And supporting healthy Black families was the first thing that popped up. And so then I was like, okay, I did my interview, and like the phone call, and kind of like figuring out where I was. And I was just honestly very stagnant in life, and I just wasn't happy with it. And so I was just looking for anything to like just open my horizon, that like kick in the butt, to like feel like I am worthy, and that I'm like that I have potential in a future. And so I was like, okay, I don't really know, but we'll see. To be completely honest, I'm born and raised here in Madison, and I've had different experiences with the Black community here, just because we're not really that tight knit, I feel, as many communities are in different states and cities, especially in the South. And so I was just like, I don't know if they're gonna like me. Am I gonna be able to be myself? Like I was nervous. And then like I got in there and like everyone's so worried and busy about their own life. Ain't nobody care about me. Like no one's thinking about like Alex being weird. Like no one's even thinking about that. They have kids running around in the background. Like everyone was busy. And so so then it was just like it turned into just this space that I can be Black and not have to explain why I have these ideas or why I felt this way. I can just say how I feel. And that just like that, it just opened my eyes to how life doesn't have to be the way that it is here right now. And that it's not only people in New York or people in Georgia or people in California that have this sense of community, that we can create this sense of community within ourselves and that we have the power to just do it. We don't have to wait for someone else to do it. We can just do it. Um, and then the impact was that like I just wasn't happy. Like I wasn't happy. I felt bad about myself. I felt bad about not finishing college, and I just felt like everything that I've learned was just invalidated because we're in a college town and everything is about degrees and who you know and everything. And I just had this story in the back of my head that like everyone could see that I didn't finish, no matter when I walk in, like everyone could see that. And then it just was just like when you were telling me you already have a business, you already have all these things. Like I was making body butters and I'm like, I want to start a small business, but I don't know. And you like, you already have it. What do you mean by start? You already started it. And so then it's just like actually seeing myself and seeing what I'm doing in my life and recognizing and giving myself credit for it. And also fear was a big thing. I had a lot of fear of like, if I put myself out there, it's not going to be received, and then what does that mean about me? And we spent a lot of time talking about fear and talking about how fear can hold us back from who we really are and our potential, and having to deal with all of that and let go of certain fears and moving forward. Because what the worst case is that no, someone says no, and then I find another way and figure it out. So those were the big points. I feel like it was life changing for me because hey, I'm in a different job now. I'm learning different things. I'm actually doing what I love to do. So it was very impactful.
Oh, that's amazing. I didn't even know all of that. Okay. All right now. How about you, Hawanda?
For me, I actually didn't know what I was getting into. It was offered to me for someone that was, I don't know if she was in your class. Should I say her name? The person that introduced
I think it's
that
okay.
Tara. Tara is the
Oh
person
yeah,
that
she went
told
through
me.
our she went through our second cohort.
Yes, that was the person that she was just telling me. She said I'm in this class, and she was just like, I think it would be so great for you. And I just really want to thank God for that moment, for her thinking of me, because um, I don't think you know to the magnitude of what Urban Triage has been for me, what it has awakened in me. I didn't know who I was. You know how you try to figure it out. It's not about going to school. Like, I know it's not connected to like actually going to physical school. Like, I love kids, I can connect with kids good. My kid's father used to always say like, oh, you should be owning a daycare or running a daycare, but something within me would make me feel like, no, 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 that's not it. That's not it. But being connected to Urban Triage, it opened up the world of who I am and what I have to offer to the world. And it's really what I'm up to now. And I haven't put any labels on the names of what it is that I'm up to, but I know what I'm up to. They can't get through that work unless they go through yours. And I just feel like it's the work that all of us need, that we can't move to the next level as a people and be effective, healthily, and healed the way we need to be until we go through Urban Triage. We need the work. It's necessary.
Oh, we just want everybody to go through Urban Triage. We want everybody to take the class. Yeah, and part of it is like you guys have all pointed out that we get so caught up in the hustle and bustle of life and all these conversations that we have with ourselves and conversations that aren't even ours, right? They're not even our conversations, but we're living it, we're embodying it. And when we can learn the skills and tools and the distinctions and the language to separate ourselves from those conversations, it's life-changing, right? You get to be present for yourself, your families, and your communities. And that is what Urban Triage is about. Andrea, we're gonna have our one white lady. Andrea's our token white lady today, and we just love us some you. So how about you, Andrea? What did you get from the class? Like, I can't even remember our original question, but what was you expecting versus what you got out of it? I think is the question.
Like everybody else, I came into it probably expecting one thing and got something completely different. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what I was expecting. I knew I needed something, and I think I thought it'd be more like a class, like read these things, you're going to learn more about racism and maybe get some ideas of things to do. And that's not, I mean, I guess I kind of got that, but I got something that was so much more. It really was what I needed. I couldn't have said what I needed, but it was what I needed, which was starting to really understand the system, that this system has socialized me from the day I was born, and to make racism very personal to me, that it's not something that's separate from me. I think probably like a lot of white people, I thought, oh, I'm for equality, I'm against racism, and so therefore it's not part of me. And this class really opened my eyes in a way that I've never experienced before, that it is part of me, I am part of it. And what the analogy that's been coming to my mind lately is that I've been raised in this system that's controlled by this monster that's been ripping out pieces of me my whole life. It's been ripping out limbs and putting back on these nice shiny robotic limbs and saying, look, you can do so much more because you have these new shiny limbs put on you. And this is great. But yet I always felt like something was wrong, like I knew I wasn't whole. And in the work group, I learned that what I've been going through is a process of being dehumanized by being part of the system. And I didn't know that. And in the work group, it opened my eyes to that I've been getting little pieces of me ripped off my whole life and given rewards for accepting it and going along with it. And that the only way to heal, which is about regaining my humanity, is to be aware that that's what the system's doing to me, reject that, and like learn new ways of being that are about regaining my humanity and overcoming the trauma of being ripped apart by the system that dehumanizes everybody. It's so anyway, so what the work group gave me besides opening my eyes was tools and ways to heal, which is really about connections with others, learning to see outside of the system and see different possibilities. Yeah, there's so much more to say, but it's really opened my eyes to both the destruction and the possibility of healing and beginning to heal through building something different with other people.
Oh my God, you almost made me cry. I'm like, dang, that is what we do. When you hear other people like give their perspective and framing of it, I'm like, wow, yeah, that is what happens. Yeah. Just want to sit with that around, like it does, like the system does remove pieces of us, doesn't it? Our humanity. Yeah. Yeah. I don't even know what question to ask next, y'all. Okay. Is there, let me ask this. So as some people may or may not know, Urban Triage, our work is centered in supporting healthy Black families. So our work group is the foundation of what we do, because we understand that in order to heal and to serve people known as Black, then we have to start with our insides. And not only that, we have to meet people where they are at, which means that even though the primary centering work of Urban Triage is the work group education, transformative education. From that springs community support, because even though we offer education, folks may need rental assistance, they may need utility support, they may need childcare support, they might just need some grief counseling, they may need to be connected to some psychotherapy, or they may need resources around business, entrepreneurship or business structure, whatever that is. So to help us understand Urban Triage, look at it from the point of all of our work centers around the needs of Black people. And then from the needs of Black people, we created or modified our curriculum to fit our co-conspirators, right? And co-conspirators uses similar curriculum, but not the same. So we actually send co-conspirators out into the community to do work so that they can have their own experience with themselves, right? So as in Urban Triage, we don't really do that piece the same way. It's differently. So within not in Urban Triage, but supporting healthy Black families, we do the work of aha moments in conversations with each other, because culturally Black people, we're verbal people. It works better when we talk things through, and we in our testimonies, we're led to aha moments like, oh my God, I get it now. And what I've discovered with working with non-Black people is that it's important, because of the attributes of white supremacy, for them to be put into situations where they can actually experience the aha moment and then come back and reflect on it with themselves and with their peers. So I guess the question for me, you guys, what I wanted to ask you is, what could we do better? Whether in the work group of urban, supporting healthy Black families, or co-conspirators, what is one of the things that you would like to see different in our work or as an organization? I'll start with, look, I don't even want to call you Shaquille because I always call you first. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to call you first because that's what it is. Go ahead, girl. Go ahead. You probably was thinking that, which is why I
like,
said it.
I'm gonna let it be what it is. It's fine. You keep me on my toes. It's fine. I think one of the things that when I think through like what could be done better, I think so. Our work group was Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it was like 6 to 7:30, right? 6 to 7:30, and I feel like
most nights, but yeah.
Yeah. So my recommendation is honestly to extend it longer. Like obviously it's late, or have it start earlier. Because I feel like a lot of the conversations that really spoke to me was after that 7:30 time, when we could just sit and discuss and continue going. Right. Like you said, Black people are verbal people, and we need to share our testimony. We got a lot to say. Right. And honestly, realistically, that was the only place I could be around other Black, like, I work with majority white people. I don't have a lot of spaces where I can just talk and be in communion with Black people. So like extending it longer would be really helpful, because, I liked it. It was helpful. And it's so needed.
Okay, notes taken. So no more. See, yeah, okay. I'm just gonna take that, sit with it. Yep. All right, we could do that.
I know you was just trying to like make it easier for people, so it's not such a big time commitment. But right. I think just like we're gonna be here till 8:30.
Right.
We're gonna be here till 8:30.
We do be needing it too. You right.
Also, that reading, we need to figure out a better reading schedule. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, reading schedule. Yeah, because we did a lot of reading, didn't we?
We did.
We did a lot of reading. Yeah. And maybe we can pull you in around that work. Like what pieces of you stood out, and which parts that we could maybe pull out chapters versus whole books. Because we was reading a book a month, okay? We weren't playing
a book a week. Don't sit here and say a book a month. It was a book a week. Don't sit here and lie to these people.
Okay. You might be right.
I know I am. I got the book list to prove it.
Right. There's so much we had to get, though. There was so much we had to get. Okay. Okay, we could do that. We could do that. Okay. I love it. So what I heard from you is that, and what my request to you is that you support us in doing that. Like, because you've been through it, you've seen it, you know what pieces probably was more impactful than others, or we can shorten somehow or something. So yeah. Okay, perfect. We got some commitment from you. Amen. Anything else you can think of? Why are you raising like Gia? So like every time someone be like, oh, you could do this better. I'm like, great. Do you mind taking ownership of that? You know, I learned that in a personal development class too. Like if you need some work to do, be bold in your request, right? Just be bold. Okay, awesome. Okay, how about you, Hawanda? What do you think we could do differently?
Um, I was sharing with the ladies earlier, and it's only because of COVID that things are virtual. I just think it's going to be so much more powerful in person.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that I can really look at. I can just think about the impact of the breakthroughs and everything with being in person. But
Okay, cool. Yeah, and I can't wait to COVID. But you know what was so awesome about virtual? There was some gives and takes about virtual. Like folks didn't have to get in their car, pack up their kids, and come, right? And we didn't have to feed y'all either. So I mean, that was a win for us because every time, look, the other cohorts, we always had to hustle. But what we eating? Did you get all the utensils? Did you get this? Did you get that? So that was eliminated too. Then we had to clean up and do that. But I hear you, the personal interaction, yes. And then we also we didn't have to provide childcare either because that was another list of volunteers organizing scheduling. So I hear you, like for the actual impactfulness of the engagement and being with each other in person is important. So I'm hoping this COVID thing kick rock soon, real soon. Hey Tish, we see you on here, Miss Butler. Can you hear
Good
me?
afternoon.
Hey Pooh. She went through, Tisha went through one of our cohorts too. I don't know if you heard the question, but it's okay if you didn't. How about you just share your experience with Urban Triage, supporting healthy Black families, and what you think we can do differently?
Okay, my experience. I came to their to Urban Triage due to the fact I was at a breakdown and I was looking out for the community, waiting for the community to help out, looking for the community because I'm from Chicago. And one thing I learned about Madison, they have groups out here, and it's a lot of people who say they help, but they don't help. But I knew Brand. I'm like, let me go see what Brandy talking about because he was in the gun club some years ago and we had fun. I'm like, okay, let me go see if I can get help because I need the community. You know my story. I don't have to mention it. So when I got there, I didn't know what to expect. I was just looking for community because I was at a breakdown. And I just sat for a couple of days. Then one day in the meeting, we get to talking. I've done something I never did. I broke down and cried. And then I ran to the bathroom and Brandy was there hugging me. And as I was crying, I released things. And every week I kept releasing. I became free. Like my situation didn't change, but the way I was thinking changed. I became free and I started working on it now. I have a clear mind. I'm not no longer content. I'm going for what I want and what I need. Like right now, I'm doing things that behind closed doors that I'm gonna get my freedom, whether anyone like it or not. I don't care who accept me because when I walk into the room, my personality get me in places. Thank you, Brandy.
Amen. I know that's right, girl. She's like, look, every time I cried, I released it. Yeah.
And I'm not no crier. It took a lot out of me to cry. And I released it and I'm free.
Yeah. Amen. Anybody else want to add on anything? What we can do differently?
I was just gonna add on Tish, like, is it Tisha or Tisha?
It's Tisha. I forgot to put what we could do differently. Okay. You can add on, then I can tell what we could do differently.
Okay, I'm gonna make it quick though. But I was gonna say, like, being like Brandy, you really spent the first beginning of the time talking about being vulnerable and being vulnerable with each other and like how that's like a beautiful thing. And vulnerability is a touchy thing for me and my Virgo self. And I didn't realize I had a whole nother layer of like being vulnerable with my Black people because I was like, I had so many reservations with it. But like Alex said, like wanting to be liked and be appreciated and like had all these things. So like really being in the class and being forced to be vulnerable in that class among other people was just like a really unique I don't know how to describe it, but a very unique experience that I really hope that everyone gets.